So we have, we have all of our loose herbs, we have all of our simple tinctures, and we have house blends, teas and tincture blends that kind of meet like the most common things that people ask for. But I think one thing, I don't know, I haven't sampled every herb shop, but I feel like it's a really like special thing. I'm really grateful that we're able to offer customizations.
Welcome to the Herbalist Hour. This is where community gather, merging the power of people and the flowers, the sweet and the bitter to the salty, the sour. Umami, it's time for the Herbalist Hour.
Welcome back to the Herbalist Hour. Today I'm excited to be with Justine Diamond. We're here at the Maypop Herb Shop in one of my favorite cities of all time, New Orleans. You want to tell us a little bit about the location?
Yeah, sure. So we are located on St. Claude Avenue. We've been in this location back from, we were on Franklin Ave, about a block away since the beginning of Maypop.
Nice.
When it was Maypop Community Herb Shop.
Okay.
Under former ownership.
Very good. Well, I do want to delve big time into the Maypop Herb Shop. Let's hear about the history, etc., what y'all do here. But first, let's get to know you a little bit more. What got you into herbalism in the first place?
Yeah, so I think like a lot of herbalists I know, I was drawn to plants as a kid, and I found before I started working at Maypop, I found like I had this, an herbalism book that I'd gotten from my grandmother at some point. I had these little index cards where it was like this binder, and you could have different plant monographs, which I didn't know that's what they were at the time, but I was really interested in them as a kid, and I just loved being around plants. And then drifted from it as I got older. And then I guess, about almost 10 years ago, I was in a job that I didn't like very much, and I was trying to find some ways to just reconnect with myself. And my partner was like, oh, you love plants, you're just happy around plants all the time, maybe you should look into maybe a job at the botanical garden. And I actually signed up for a newsletter from Maypop Community Herb Shop to see if they were offering any classes. And the very next week, actually on a full moon, I got their newsletter, and they were hiring for an administrative position, which is like my background, job experience. So I applied, I was hired to work at Maypop, and it just really came alive for me there. I'm like, oh yeah, this is this is what I was missing. I used to do like home remedies and just little things at home, but I was like, wow, there's so much that I don't know. So I began learning really as I started to work for Maypop.
Do you ever wish you could go back to that phase of when you first got into herbalism? Remember how that felt? Sometimes I still do feel that way, but man, when you first really start getting into herbalism, it's just like you can't help yourself. You just want to keep learning and learning and learning.
Yeah. When I started working over there, the shop is just, the walls are lined with herbs, and I would just go jar by jar, like smell the herbs and look at them, like, oh, I've heard of you, but I've never seen you, and just, it was really fun starting to get to know them in that context.
Do you recall what that book that your grandma had was?
I looked at it.
Was it Rosalee's?
I wish it was. It was actually, I don't know the author, but I think it was like New Age Herbalism or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
You gotta start somewhere.
Right. My library's grown since then.
Sure. Absolutely. Who have been some of your mentors along the way?
I mean, I'm so lucky to have worked with folks at Maypop. I really started learning informally through Jen and Rachel, and every herbalist that works at the shop has their own wisdom, own knowledge, and own experience. And then in 2019, Jen Stovall was offering her Samara School of Community Herbalism 3-month community herbalism intensive. So I did that right before the pandemic started. Wow. So that was my first like formal training, and just as much as I'd been learning along the way at the shop from just being involved, behind the scenes, osmosis, that really just like blew my, leveled my skills up, leveled my knowledge up so much.
Is she still doing the Samara School?
Not right now.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you first started studying that, did you primarily know herbs, like herbs in jars? Did you know the plants in their wild state?
Not nearly as
Okay.
much, a tiny bit, but that's really where, and I loved being able to do it locally because I got to know the plants that I actually live around, which I feel like until really, I don't know, it feels like the pandemic changed that a lot, but a lot of the herb schools, there were really none in this area.
Right.
So a lot of folks I know had to travel and go to other states to get that kind of learning. So at Jen's school, we would go to City Park and like go meet our local skullcap,
So cool.
and you know, just all of the different plants that we have here, our our swamp vervain, and and now I see them everywhere, and it's just really like it's built my, it's a community, like they're our community, so it's really built my sense of community and knowing who our plant neighbors are.
I'm so jealous you got to study at the Samara School. I always thought that'd be so fun. I've taken a few classes with Jen over the years, and Rachel for that matter. And so I was hoping that you'd say that, so you actually got to go out at City Park and identify the plants and hang out with them and stuff like that.
Yeah, we did, and we made a lot of medicine. Like I still have, like part of it was, all the medicine we made, we all took bits home. So it really started my home apothecary, and it was really a really special time, and I'm so glad I got to do it before the pandemic because they shifted to online for that year, and I got lucky.
Yeah, Nick, we probably still have some tinctures from Columbines from 10 years ago.
You still have some tinctures from your stint at Samara?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you make a lot in herb school. That's a lot
I
of
made
fun.
so much medicine.
Did you study with Rachel at all, or just kind of work
Not
here at the shop?
formally,
Yeah.
but actually that's not true. We used to do a lot. We're kind of on a hiatus right now, but the through the shop when I first started working there, we did a lot of one-off classes. So I took like tea time. I did tea times with Rachel, and so I have done that with her, and just they're both like everybody that I've worked with, but Rachel and Jen especially have been so just generous with their knowledge, and like I've been able to talk with them about things just outside of a classroom setting.
Yeah, I went on a plant walk with Rachel at the Grodat Youth Farm. Have you been up there?
Oh yeah.
And she was showing us the what was the skullcap species? Do you know, or the skullcap out there? Or which one? What do you guys call that one?
Racemosa.
Racemosa. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I feel like back in Oregon, I would never really see skullcap. I know you could find it out in the woods, but like it was like ground cover out there, right? It's all over here. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was in a lot of places where they would mow. So we, like Jen, when I was in school, she would kind of get the schedule of when they were going to mow.
Okay.
And, talk to folks at the park and see what areas were okay to harvest from. But we had that, but it was beautiful. It was just hills of it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Just a quick break from the show to thank our presenting sponsor, Oshala Farm. Oshala Farm is a beautiful and vibrant certified organic herb farm based in Southern Oregon, where they grow and sell over 80 different plant species. The founders, Elise and Jeff Higley, have been longtime friends, so I highly trust their growing methods and ethics. You'll love the potency and vibrancy of all the herbs they have to offer. To learn more and purchase their herbs and other organic goods, head to oshalafarm.com. So thanks once again to Oshala Farm for sponsoring the Herbalist Hour. Now back to the show. Enjoy. So what is your role here now? Is it still kind of administration? Or?
Yeah, I'm the shop manager.
Okay.
So,
Awesome.
Yeah,
Congrats.
thank you. So I do a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, from inventorying, ordering, keeping as much stocked on our shelves as we can, to like budgeting, and, some of the financial management, payroll, all of that stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about the transition from Jen and Rachel, I guess, selling it to Anne. What was that transition like? When did that happen, and so forth?
Sure. Well, so backing up just a little bit.
Yeah,
so really, like Maypop originally was a collective of 4 herbalists, and that rose out of like herbal relief work that they were doing after Hurricane Katrina. I think a lot of it was out of like the Common Ground health clinic. I know folks that helped to found Maypop were involved with that. And then I think they officially, it was either 2010 or 2011 maybe, when they officially opened the doors of the shop over on Franklin Avenue. So it was collectively owned and operated by Jen Stovall, Rachel Reeves. I actually didn't have the chance to work with Amy and Wendy.
Wendy. Wendy moved to Eugene, Oregon, which is my hometown. She's a nurse herbalist.
Cool.
She's a badass.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I've like heard of her and seen
Yeah.
her around, but I didn't get to work with them. So actually, I believe it was shortly after
Forgot
they
about
left. Amy and Wendy moved on, that they hired me.
Okay.
They're like,
We need someone. Yeah, we need some help.
it's more than a 2-person
Sure.
job to run it.
Yeah.
So I worked under Jen and Rachel from 2016 until the sale in 2021, they had known that they wanted to sell it and move on to other things for a while. It took a while. They were really committed to like finding the right person or people to sell it to.
Yeah.
Ann Whitehat is the new owner. She's an indigenous Chikangu Lakota woman who's from South Dakota, the Rosebud community there, but she's lived in New Orleans for, I think when she first got here, it was like at least 11 years and however many on top of that, from when she bought the shop. But she's raised her kids here, and she's got her 3 kids, and they're all all involved in the shop too. But the transition, like values-wise, was amazing.
Yeah,
there was logistical things where we had to, restart every account and like transition everything that wasn't super fun. But the transition, in terms of like finding somebody who has similar values, shared values with what Maypop was founded on, and like a vision for moving the shop forward, has been a really cool thing to be a part of.
Where did Anne get her, say, herbal knowledge from?
I don't know full depth. I know
sure.
that she, in a lot of like informal ways growing up, where she grew up with her elders. She's also, I hope that you can do an interview with her later and she
Absolutely.
can tell you in depth. But I know that she also studied with an indigenous woman in Mexico, because it was really important to her to find another indigenous teacher to learn from. And then she also, I know she's been to Cuba, and like part of her dream for owning an herb shop came from that trip, where they have like the pharmacies, the green pharmacies, and she's just like, oh, I want to do this. Like, so this is what I want. And I want to, a big thing for her is really wanting to, Maypop Community Herb Shop has always been about community, always been about accessibility. And she wants to like extend that further into indigenous communities that she's in relationship with. So that's been a big thing for her as she's come into this role.
How's she liking it?
She loves it.
Okay.
It's her dream.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about like the mission of Maypop Herb Shop as a whole? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. There's several tenets to it, but I think at the foundation of it, the idea, the truth, the history that herbs are the medicine of the people has always been at the foundation of that. So having, everything from like how we price things and not in like the strictly capitalist. Of course, we're a retail store. We're participating in commerce, but that's something that we work really hard to be responsible stewards of the herbs in that setting. So from like the most accessible pricing of herbs that we can to what kind of medicine that we're offering, like who's coming in, who we're connecting with in the community and what they need, what they're asking for. And of course, just like being good stewards of the plants and just like choosing, we do our best to, like if there's a plant that's not doing well in the world, then we don't think it's responsible of us to sell it in commerce. So we are trying to make those kind of decisions regularly, while also, like just valuing the, like the labor, the training, the experience of the herbalists that work with us, and having, fair pay for them,
Sure.
like valuing that labor, really trying to make herbalism be like a viable job, career, for folks that are called to it.
Where are you sourcing the herbs from? Are any of them like locally wild harvested or
As
anything
much
like
as
that,
we
or?
can.
Really?
A lot of the dried herbs, not as much. We are getting stuff. We do get a lot from Mountain Rose.
Oh, okay.
There's
Nice.
another plant company, Sacred Plant Company out in Colorado, that we've been working with the past couple of years. But as far as our fresh medicine, like our tinctures that we make, a lot of it is coming locally. So we work with, there's a couple farms around town. Speakeasy Farm is one of our, one of the ones that we work with. We have a lot of, we're friends with them. Some coworkers also, work with them. So
Nice.
we get stuff from them. There's some other smaller companies, like as much regionally as we can, and then other small growers and harvesters, and whatever we can get ourselves. Like our peach leaves come from Rachel's backyard, and
awesome.
we get what we can locally when we can, and that is also, part of, I feel like in my tenure here, I've seen that capacity grow a lot, because it's, Jen and Rachel had been doing work to help build capacity amongst local growers to if they're growing vegetables, what herbs might work well as other crops that are grown alongside them, and just how to process them, how to work, in ways that we can receive them and be able to, be able to have them with our capacity in the shop of what we can do and their capacity as growers, so that we can offer more locally. And I feel like it has grown a lot. There are more growers.
That's cool to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one question we'll ask sometimes is what do you wish you see more of in the herbal world? And a lot of the times people answer, oh, we need more farmers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And being able to grow enough that that we can use it, that it can meet the needs that our community has for certain types of medicine.
Who would you say your community or clientele is? Are they herb nerds like us, or is it just?
It's really varied.
Really?
We have a lot. We have a pretty diverse clientele.
That's awesome.
We have beginners that are coming in who are just I've been learning, and we have a lot of folks that are I've seen this herb on TikTok or whatever, and so there's a big education component too, a big role of education that we play, all the way to people that have grown up with herbs that are other practitioners that are, we have some bulk wholesale kind of things that we do with folks that are buying on a larger scale, including local clinical practitioners. It runs the gamut. Yeah.
You mentioned TikTok. I have to ask, what's the current trendy TikTok herb these days?
Oh goodness.
Or are there a
I don't
few?
know what
Okay.
I'm not on TikTok. But,
Me neither.
I'm not sure who is, but we always see trends.
Sure.
A lot of folks come in wanting certain teachers, recommendations, or it seems there's certain blends that are being pushed on TikTok without really considering a person's constitution or what, this is this cure, this magic thing. So we have our trends, and we try to find that balance between respecting people what they want, but then also educating and okay, well maybe you might want to consider these other factors as well.
I have a friend, Kyle Denton, shout out Tippecanoe Herbs in Milwaukee. He said he's seeing a lot of people into mugwort these days. Are you seeing that at all?
Well, people ask for
They wanna
mugwort a
smoke
lot,
it.
but
They wanna get
it's actually in Louisiana. It's a prohibited herb to sell.
Oh, did you know that?
Because we were talking about Damiana also.
both are, yeah.
I didn't know mugwort was too.
Yeah, it's on the list of prohibited.
How is that even
herbs.
possible? Why is that the case? Do you have any idea?
From my understanding, they were part of a synthetic marijuana blend.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then they
Somehow now they're
threw them all
demonizing.
out. They demonized all the herbs in that particular blend.
Yeah, I remember when I worked at Mountain Rose Herbs, we could not ship Damiana to Louisiana.
Yeah, it's
Like a
wild.
felony or something.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, it's
That's so
wild.
sad because I love that plant. I used to just call Damiana my event herb. When I went to an event, I would dose up on Damiana. I just love that plant. So what a shame.
Yeah, it is. It's ridiculous.
We got a petition to get that legalized in
Yeah, I feel like there have been some kind of efforts. I remember Rachel just really wanting to go hard at it, but just it's picking your battles sometimes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Katrina. I know one of your missions here at the Maypop Herb Shop is to help the community through natural disasters. You want to talk to that about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I think that that was part of our foundation, even under former ownership,
Yeah.
and I feel like it's carried through. So there's been, I mean, I was here for Hurricane Ida when, I feel like one of the things we do really well at Maypop is we can flex and pivot really
Sure.
well. We're a small operation, so we've been able to, like, when the pandemic started, we switched, like, we didn't have an online store. Like,
Yeah.
I built it at like midnight. It was like
Wow.
all hours, you know,
Yeah.
with some tech support. But and we opened up like a window on the outside the door with, like, we had a little speaker, and we would have folks place their orders
Wow.
online, and they could pick it up, or they could order through the window, and we adjusted to meet people's needs, because it was still important to have this kind of like local, customized, personalized herbal experience here, especially in a health crisis.
For sure.
So I think we did that really, you know, I'm proud of how we handled that. And so I'll say that there's things that like Maypop has done, and then also every person that works, like every herbalist that we have is also really involved in different community efforts. So between like our individual acts, kind of like using Maypop as a hub for that. So Anne is one of the people that helped found like a mutual aid group called Delta Roots, mutual aid medicine making. So they made a ton of medicine, like immune supporting things, and during the pandemic to just get that out to folks. And then that's continued after hurricanes. So like in Hurricane Ida, they were making care packages for folks. Anne was bringing medicine to some of the indigenous tribes, like down the bayou from here, that were really, really impacted, like folks in Homa and whatnot, and building those relationships to get folks the medicine that they need access to. You know, I like came in like after the storm passed, and you know the shop was closed, but nobody had power, and we were still like, I was on social media like, all right, who needs what? Like trying to just get medicine out to folks, like from the shops, from the shop, from my home apothecary, and then like learning from that and then trying to like help people to prepare. So like the hurricane preparation is also a part of that, using what we've learned from that of like what medicines are people really needing, what comes up, and doing like educational series to try to help people prepare ahead of time for the inevitable, you know, our hurricanes that we experience, the weather and systemic failures that are connected with them oftentimes, to just try to help like people get the things that are most urgent. So it was a lot of nervines. It was really hard, like a lot of sleep stuff. It was so hard. There's no power. It's the end of August. People were getting heat rashes, so remedies for that. And staying hydrated, and just all of these things that we learned through that experience of like getting medicine to folks in these circumstances.
So are you hosting classes at the shop?
We're not right now,
Okay, but you have?
We have,
Yeah.
we did in the past,
Okay.
and we do want to get back to that point. We're actually, I think one of the first series we want to do is a herbal hurricane
Timely.
preparation. Yeah.
Yeah. Where would those be hosted? Are those actually in the shop?
They used to be.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they used to be. The pandemic really shifted that
Sure.
for just space. It's such a just tight space in there. We've had some in this space that
Okay.
we're in right now,
Yeah.
which is like our medicine making and storage space. But there's also like Anne is connected. She's got some space at another like kind of community hub that's a little bit bigger. So we're hopefully going to do some stuff over there too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do y'all have any questions? Anyone want to? Yes, Rosalee, got anything? No.
Well, the one question I was really burning to ask was like, what do people need? So that's really fascinating just to hear about.
Yeah.
You know, and I really love that there's like this thought of like, okay, how can we prepare for it, not just react to it? So,
Yeah.
No questions, just
Okay.
really fascinating.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, we've been doing this for a long, like the shop's been around for a long time, and we all like who have lived here for any amount of time have a lot of experience at this point. And like just from the herbal front, I was like, okay, we need immune stuff. Like everybody, I had gotten a lot of calls about people getting UTIs with the heat, and yeah, and the sleep was like nobody could sleep. It was so, and then you know the trickle effect of not sleeping, and those were really big ones.
Are you all like in cahoots with the herbalists out in say Asheville area, like helping out in any way, or?
Yeah, I mean Jen Stovall is out there now in the thick of it.
Oh, that's where she's at.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
she's with over
Terra
at Terra
Silva.
Silva.
That's right.
Yeah, so we Anne was actually in touch with a musician who lived here for a really long time, Ashia Lake, who is over there now, had moved.
Right.
Partially, I think, to my understanding, to not be in
Oh my
a
gosh.
hot zone like this.
Yeah.
But so the two of them collaborated to, so Maypop is currently serving as like a hub for folks to drop off herbal donations with, you know, specific parameters around it, because we also know what works and doesn't work in terms of that, and like what becomes more of a burden for folks that are in the middle of disaster recovery to, you know, to deal with. So prepackaged things that are clearly labeled, certain types of medicines over other types of medicines. We're not collecting any dried herbs, because it's just, it's a lot to handle when you're also recovering.
Requires a lot of storage space too, I imagine. Yeah.
So we're currently serving as just a hub to collect that, and we're going to be mailing it out to Ashia, where she'll distribute. And I know we've had a couple other requests for folks like that saw that and they're like, hey, we'd be down to do that too. So we're just trying to, you know, I mean, we know what it's like on the other end of it, so trying to support folks in that way.
So my good friend Nick Moya, who's actually visiting from Oregon right now, he wants to ask a guest question. Did you want to?
Yeah, you kind of already answered this in some respects, but I'm kind of curious, because I'm new to this area. I haven't spent much time in the South at all. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious, like, what herbs are kind of the most, not the most popular, but the most, I guess that is most popular culturally, like how it's different than other regions in the States. And just like maybe historically, like what people are used to using with the different cultural history.
Yeah, thank you. It's a great question. I'll do my best with it. Let's see. I mean, we definitely have like our traditional Southern, like I think of peach leaves for grief. That's definitely one that comes to mind. I feel like, I mean, I'm seeing the trends within the shop, and we have such a diverse group of people that come through, folks from here, folks that are transplants. Like, I don't necessarily know who is asking, but we have waves of things that come through. We do sometimes have folks from like outside of this area, like from Louisiana, that come for herbs that I have to, like, we don't carry, but I have to look up, like, that are in French sometimes, that are like a lot of kind of like, you know, Cajun Creole things that, like Manglier, I think is one of them, which we don't carry, but grows in those areas. I mean, of course, like milky oats and, you know, nervines. I feel like it's just a city where, like, we need nervines. Like, that was one of the things with when the skull cap started popping up, you know, that, you know, I've heard, like, I remember Jen saying, it's just, you know, like, just the idea that herbs come where they're needed, like, 'cause it wasn't always here.
Burdock being all over Wisconsin for the alcohol and stuff like that. I always use that example. Yeah.
Right. I mean, we do carry, like, kudzu, which is, you know, not as much like in the city, but in the South. And that's, like, that can be really supportive for folks with alcohol and coming off it. I'm sure there's so many better answers, and of course,
you're going to remember them all after the episode for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to go through.
That's how it goes.
I mean, I wish we could interview my coworker L'Oreal, who's a native New Orleanian, who, I'm trying to think what L'Oreal works with all the time.
Is she over there?
No, she's not. But
that's fine. That's
Yeah.
all good. No, you're great.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
It's kind of a hard question to answer because, I mean, that's why I'm asking it, because
Yeah.
like, I'm curious, because I'm only
Yeah.
coming from my bio region, so.
Yeah.
But if, you know, if that's all you know, it's hard to like really triangulate how it's different.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so.
Yeah. And then we just have so many different types of people that are coming in that are, it's like we're such a cross section that it's hard for me to figure out what's like here versus, and like my training has been in that cross section.
for sure.
But yeah, somebody else could answer that way better than me.
We can't know it all.
Yeah.
That was funny. The first time I did an event for Mountain Rose Herbs, someone came up to me and they asked me, I don't know if you can hear this still. Well, Rosalee's going to ask a question too, but I remember they came up to me and they were like talking about all these different herbs and that they were upset that I didn't know every single medicinal action of every single herb. I'm like, there's no possible way. I literally just started working there. So, Rosalee, did you have a question too?
Sure, come.
Yeah, if you want to, yeah.
Right. Or you can just hold out the mic.
Yeah. I want to do it.
Okay, if Tori Amos were I'm just kidding. I'm not going to ask a quick question. So I love that Maypop is so much about accessibility, and I'm curious, what are some challenges that you see with people having accessibility to herbs?
Yeah.
And then kind of like a second part to that question would be, if you had a magic wand and you could like put us in the next era of like what herbalism, you know, we've had this like amazing growth with herbs over the past several decades. Like if that continues, like what would you like to see happen in terms of like accessibility and that sort of thing?
Okay, thank you. Good questions.
Thank you.
So, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind on accessibility is, I mean, the first two things. One thing is like we're in the city of New Orleans, so there's a lot of people that, you know, we're able to serve here. There are all the accessibility issues just within that, like even down to transportation, and not everybody has transportation, financial constraints, even though we do, you know, we work really hard to price things at as accessible points as we can while still keeping the lights on and paying people fairly. But, you know, those are always barriers here. But also, like, we have a lot of folks coming from other parts of the state, from Mississippi, from like neighboring, like just from out the region, because there's not, like, it's not a region where there are herb shops on every corner. There aren't a lot in this region. So we, you know, some folks are able to come here, that are able to drive, that are able to take time off work and get here, but there's just a lot of folks that aren't. And then I also think about like our unhoused neighbors. This is this particular area, there are a lot of unhoused folks, and we know a lot of them, and you know, they come into shop and we're in, I think, good relationship with them. So we have some people that come in every day to take a little bit of our cough tincture for their chronic bronchitis, and you know, we do the best that we can, and we give her medicine every day that she comes in. She takes it down, gets a little bit of water, and says she loves us, and goes her way. But like, it's not, I mean, it's not enough. Yeah. Like, it's, you know, it's what we can do, what we can offer. And like, we try to have resources, because people just have so many needs beyond, like, herbs can support in a lot of ways, and folks have needs beyond that. So we try to compile like a list of resources for folks that we can, you know, like, everybody that works in the shop is just, you know, like, comes from a social justice caring kind of standpoint. So we have these resources that we try to, like, we've been in touch with people's caseworkers and stuff, but we support folks. We let them come in and sit and get some air conditioning and get some water and get some herbs and like, you know, but it's, you know, in a city where there's not enough, well, yeah, the resources are constrained anyway, that herbalism is still within that structure. Doing what we can, and you know, there's more that's needed.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. If I had a magic wand, I guess, I mean, it's amazing. Like, we love that herbalism is really just growing in popularity, that people are learning, that people are reconnecting with plants. You know, and then we also, like, within the context of the shop, see, you know, like the simplification of things, the, you know, the ways that like there's some trends around trying to think of herbalism within the confines of like pharmacological medicine, and just what's missed, what's lost when we try to reduce it to that. And folks wanting simple answers. So we really do our best at the shop to like broaden how we're thinking about herbs and how they work with our bodies, and just like the bigger picture of it. So I would hope that we can continue like that kind of knowledge and understanding and connection with plants as like a part of the ecosystem that we're all a part of. I would hope that we can, have that narrative grow stronger. Yeah, and not get lost in like the TikTok of it all, like the simplification of it all. Yeah.
All right. Any follow up?
Yeah.
No? That's good.
All right, cool. You mentioned before we were chatting that you wanted to talk about the over-the-counter customization.
Oh yeah.
I would love to hear about that.
Yeah. Well, so we have we have all of our loose herbs, we have all of our simple tinctures, and we have house blends, teas and tincture blends that kind of meet like the most common things that people ask for. But I think one thing I don't know, I haven't sampled every herb shop, but I feel like it's a really like special thing. I'm really grateful that we're able to offer customization. So we're folks come in and kind of tell us what they have going on, and we have continual conversations with staff around like what is something that really merits like a full consultation. And we have some folks that are connected with the shop that we refer out to, or that used to be connected with the shop. We have trusted herbalists that where there's where folks are on medicines, where there's more complicated history behind it. We'll strongly recommend that they look into a consultation. Also, we refer people. Rachel does like a drop-in clinic for like kind of the middle ground of that. But for us in the shop, as much as we don't want to use like that kind of language, it's kind of an easy reference point to think of what we can do from the retail space, like from over the counter, and we talk with folks and we're able to mix up custom blends for them like right on the spot, and give suggestions for things that they can at least start with to see like, okay, you're having trouble sleeping, and we'll ask, we'll kind of do a little interview with them and assess some basic things and be able to put together a formula for them to try. So if there's no like red flags for us, like, ooh, this is beyond like the scope of what I can do in this space, if this is beyond the scope of my particular practice, like all of our herbalists have different scopes of practice. So folks, going, within those kind of parameters, we're able to offer people customized remedies to work with, and also then have the feedback. So like, okay, try this for a little while, observe how it's working for you. We can make adjustments, come back, give us feedback, and we're really able to like be in relationship with people in that way over the space, like in the space of the shop.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you have tinctures, bulk herbs. Are there any other products that you really want to highlight, or are there other vendors in there in the store and everything?
There are, yeah.
We'd love to hear about that.
Yeah. So, we carry, so we have like our house teas, our house tinctures, and then individual, loose herbs and simples. But then we carry multiple different local makers' products, which is really great. So we're a little bit low over there right now because the summer, summer's slow for us, but we carry everything from other herbalists, like blends, for example, we don't make glycerates, so like for, sometimes we'll have ones that are made by other people. Locally, we have somebody's smoke blends, like a local herbalist smoke blends that we carry. We typically carry some of Eleni Cruz's line of products that she offers on wholesale. So we're able to like be that, also just like a hub for other makers to sell their things. We've got like cool beeswax candles that are made by this amazing local person. I make perfume. I sell them at the
nice.
shop, natural perfume. So it's really...
What's your brand called?
Elspeth's Airs.
Airs.
Elspeth's Airs Natural Perfumes.
Can we link to like your Instagram or anything like that, or where do you
Yeah,
sell
for
that out?
sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And at Elspeth's Airs.
Okay.
But,
Not on TikTok though.
no, not on
Okay.
TikTok. So it's a really like sweet, and we also, again, like in terms of pricing, we really try to, like some places are, 50-50, so we give like a better rate, like we give more money to our local makers. We take less of a markup so that they can get more of the money, and it's just really sweet to like have, like Eleni will send people over like, oh, I don't have any right now, but go to Maypop, or we have a lot of really cool things that we're able to offer that way.
Y'all are really building a nice herbal community here.
Yeah, we are. We're a part of a really beautiful community.
Why don't we talk a little bit about the employees?
Yeah.
You want to shout at each individual? How many people work here actually?
There are 5 herbalists that work the shifts
Okay.
at the shop, and then me and Ann, so 7 of us total.
Nice, and are they all like say clinically trained, or are they?
Differing degrees.
different degrees, sure.
We have in the order of who's been with us the longest, Marina Sparagana. She is a clinical herbalist. She's amazing. They're all amazing. I could go on and on about all of them, but Marina, and then Marcella Singleton Linero, who is not a clinical herbalist, but like her mom was into herbs, and she grew up with it, and she's also a tarot reader, and really cool. And then we have L'Oreal Evans Burden, who is from New Orleans, has also was a kind of hereditary herbalist.
Okay.
And then we have Kate Alber, who's another clinical herbalist, who's just amazing, has such a high skill level, has her own practice as well. And then Liz Escobedo, who is an herbalist, and she's a biologist from Mexico, so she also speaks Spanish. So we have, some language accessibility on the days that she works for folks that speak Spanish, and just everybody has really unique, cool skill sets, and just really adds, we have just a wide spectrum, I feel like, of experience and training that we're able to offer folks that are able, they all, they got their days, everybody's got their fixed days, so people come in and oh, where's Kate at? Where's Liz at?
It's always one person per shift then? Mm-hmm. Gotcha, yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, the structure of the shop is interesting. It seems to be what works best for folks.
I want to work here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
Did we miss anybody, or was that?
No, that's
nice.
Yeah, and then
Ann.
Nice.
Yeah. And Justine.
Yep.
Cool.
I'm mostly behind the scenes. I do shift
Sure.
covers, and
Gotcha.
I've worked shifts at varying points, but mostly I'm just covering for folks right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are there other aspects about the shop that we didn't cover that you really want to touch on?
Let's see. Well, yeah. I mean, one thing I did want to mention was just, we're the only business left in the city that has a mask requirement, which has been
I noticed
really,
that.
Yeah, it's, it's had its challenges, but it's something that's been really important to Ann and the staff, with especially how hard Indigenous communities were hit by COVID. So it's been really important to Ann to maintain that and to have it be a safe space for folks that are immunocompromised, that are sick, just tending to the well-being of our community. And mostly folks are okay with it, we have some folks that aren't, but
That's where the challenge is pushback.
Yeah, but they can order online and
There you
pick it
go.
up.
Yeah.
Got other options, but that's been something that's really shifted since the pandemic started, and it's just kind of part of the values that
Sure.
Ann is carrying forward into the shop. And let's see, I know Marcella and I were talking about other points. I guess just I feel like the other values of the shop are just around, it's always had an anti-capitalist, attempting to live into anti-capitalist values the best that we can, and just being in political solidarity. Marcella reminded me that during the student encampments that were taking place at Tulane and Loyola. This spring, we ended up providing herbal medicine. One of our herbalists organized it to be able to provide some medicine for some herbal remedies for folks that were at the encampments. So we just, we look for those kind of opportunities and just support. Like these are people that are part of our community. So we're, we try to live into those values in like tangible ways.
You could really see the effort y'all are putting into it, so it's very appreciated.
Yeah.
It's been awesome to get to know more of the herbal community while we're visiting New Orleans. This is actually our last interview on our trip, so it's been really cool to meet you, Lucretia, and Eleni, and hang out with y'all, and just really appreciate the work y'all are doing. What's next for Maypop? Any upcoming projects or things you're getting excited about, or just business as usual?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of things that we want to be doing. Capacity is always a challenge, but I think one of the next things I'd like to see is us to be able to get our classes back online, like back in person,
right,
running again.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, a lot of folks ask for it. Folks want more herbal education, so that's something we'd really love to get going again.
Who'd be teaching those classes?
It'd probably be all of the different herbalists that work with us, taking on different subjects that they feel really comfortable and good about, excited to share.
That's exciting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw on your website there is a calendar, so maybe they'll start filling in more
Hopefully
here and there.
So, yes.
Absolutely. Very cool.
Yeah.
So drop the URL. It's maypopherbshop.com.
It's Miss Ann's maypopherbshop.com.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And you're working on kind of the new website, or?
We have the new website up.
Nice.
So that's it was just Maypop Herb Shop, but when Anne came on board, we thankfully actually got some support. So Anne is in relationship with the Indian Collective and the Indian Fund, and they've been supporting us to do things like build a new website, and try and do some social media and email marketing, which is challenging to do when you're running the shop. So we've been really grateful for that support.
Yeah, so you're also on Instagram then as well?
We are,
right, cool.
It's Maypop Herb Shop on Instagram.
We'll throw all the links in the podcast show notes, YouTube description, etc. Sweet. Any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
I think that's it.
We covered it. Awesome. Well, thank you, Justine.
Yeah, thank you,
It's been a
Mason.
delightful convo, and excited to introduce the Herb Rally community to the Maypop Herb Shop, Miss Ann's Maypop Herb Shop.
Yes.
And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye, everybody. Nice job.
Thank you.
Good job. Thanks so much for watching today's episode of the Herbalist Hour. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want more great herbal content, be sure to subscribe to our Herb Rally YouTube channel. If you enjoy these Herbalist Hour episodes and you'd like to join us live, you can do so by becoming an Herb Rally Schoolhouse member. Learn more at herbrally.com/schoolhouse. And if you want to get your first 30 days for free, use coupon code YouTube30 at checkout. So our Herb Rally Schoolhouse members get access to exclusive video classes, monographs, and a lot more herbal community discounts, along with joining these live Herbalist Hour interviews. So one more time, herbrally.com/schoolhouse. Enter coupon code YouTube30 at checkout to get your first 30 days for free. All right, we'll see you in the next episode, and take care.